Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, ladies, gentlemen, strangers, acquaintances. Thank you for coming to the Mad Poet Show. Welcome from wherever you're tuning in from. I see we got Lucas Cavarelli. Lucas Cavarella. Apologies for murdering your last name. Says play Tornado of Souls. That is my favorite Megadeth album. Super awesome. Unfortunately, Lucas, I am not set up to do requests. I do original material, and everything is basically a set playlist in advance. Right now, we're playing my 21st full-length album. The album is titled An Innocent Assassin, and so I'm going to be playing that full album tonight. So apologies for being unable to comply with your request. That is an awesome song. I have played that song. It's been years since I've played it. So yeah, I've never done like a setup. I probably should set up like a backing track set for a set of cover tunes. Tornado of Souls would be on there. Probably, I think probably my favorite song off that album is the first one, Holy War's Punishment Due. Killer song. So cool. Just a great album all the way through. But yeah, I mean, I would have a lot of fun stuff on there. We got Todd coming in from Live Space. How you doing, Todd? Great to see you. Thanks for being here. I've actually been meaning to send you a message on Discord. Nothing bad or crazy going on, but a couple things I had some questions about. For those who are unfamiliar, Live Space is a beta test program right now for a new live streaming platform, and you should go sign up for their beta because it's really shaping up to be a very cool platform, and I would encourage people to go check that out and be a part of the earliest stage you can. I've myself and Do It Pruitt 82 are basically the beta testers back from the earliest stages. We've been very consistent, and it's just been a really awesome community. A lot of cool people over there, so I'm looking forward to everything with that, and wherever else you happen to be coming in from. Again, thank you very much. I'm streaming out to 14 websites today. I've actually got my chat working on every website except one, Africa.tv, which I've never ever gotten that chat to work. So if you happen to be watching from Africa TV, sorry, I will not see anything that you say. I will continue to work on that here and there, but no luck. This next song is a very cool one. This is going out to my friend Marie Ventris. She's an author, and she's got some very cool books, also worth checking out on YouTube. She's got a very cool channel about being an author, and she's just an awesome gal. And this song is also fun for me because it the opening part, the intro, which hits a few times in the song, is actually in 7/4. So it's like 4 measures of 7/4 before it goes into a more standard kind of 4/4 feel. I just totally dig the 7/4 on the opening of this thing. It's also one of my better song titles. This is called 18 Iron Chains to Bind the Wicked King. Alrighty then, 18 iron chains to bind the wicked king. And I'm just kind of checking some stuff in the chat. I've been trying to set up, I know I've gotten a few followers on like kick.com and stuff when I've been playing, and it doesn't show up, unfortunately, on my chat. So I've got this thing set up where it's supposed to show the followers, but I don't think it does. Ghostly Blurry Face, what's up? Hey, thanks for coming in. I don't believe I recognize your username as having been here before, so welcome to the Mad Poet Show. And for anyone out there who might be new to what we're doing or coming in a little late, I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Tonight we are playing my 21st album. Album is titled An Innocent Assassin. We just finished playing the song 18 Iron Chains to Bind the Wicked King, which is one of my best song titles. Do I know any Muse? You know, I have taught the song Wonderwall a couple times to a few of my students. I really like Muse. I've never gotten into playing a lot of their music, but they got some great stuff. And Lucas Cavarella asked earlier, I requested Tornado of Souls. I was explaining that I'm actually set up just to do originals here. I've got a set of my backing tracks. As I said, tonight we're playing my 21st album. So it's all originals, and I'm just kind of set up for that to be my main thing. And it works out pretty well that way. It's, you know, I know a lot of people really do come on to watching streams hoping to see cover tunes, which I can completely appreciate. And while I have done a few cover tunes, only one has ever made it onto one of my albums. That's actually on my 65th album. The album's titled Incomprehensible Isolation. And I did a cover of Three Blind Mice. I did heavy metal variations on it. And it's really fun. It's actually a great one for exercising. That, I think, is probably one of my favorite albums to exercise to. And it's maybe a little egotistical, but that one works well for exercising. So, nonetheless, oh, your YouTube recommend. That's very cool that I'm getting I had someone on my Discord like a couple weeks ago was like, you guys came up in my YouTube recommendations. Like, that's awesome. That is really cool that's coming up for people. So, and thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy what we do here. I shouldn't say we. It is a one-person operation. All my lights are programmed in advance, and like I said, all the backing tracks, of course, are done in advance. And it's a good time, though. It's instrumental rock. There is still a good chance I'm going to be singing on some upcoming albums. Still making no promises on that. So we'll see where things go. But if anyone out there is playing along on their flutes or their trumpets or their violins, this next song is in B minor, and it is called Beyond the Other Side of Silence. And Ghostly Blurry Face, just noticed that I'm multi. Yeah, the program, the cameras and the lights, I program all that in advance, and I actually, through my recording program, I put in MIDI signals to trigger each light and camera change. It's taken ages to work out how this system works. It's kind of wonky. It's very complex, and I absolutely love it. Oh, this is a huge compliment, and I want to talk about this for a moment because that really means a lot to me. Ghostly Blurry Face, tuning in from YouTube, says the bass is mixed to perfection, which as a bassist I appreciate. Thank you so much. On my 65th album, I actually spent about 2 1/3 years working on that album because the production quality of these earlier albums it just wasn't good enough. And on that album, I was listening to it, and it would be like, I need to hear. There wasn't the clarity and stuff. And the bass was one of the first things I realized I was getting wrong. And so you're not hearing right now the original production from this album. You're hearing my updated version of it. I've gone back through and the albums that are playable, I have updated. And so that means a lot to me, particularly coming from a bass player, that I got that right. And one of the things I did when I was working on this is I went and I looked up forums and looked for the question, what albums have the best production? And there's a really strong movement, I will say right now, in metal to have a very bass-heavy mix. And I noticed that when you ask people for the album that have the best production, none of those albums come up. The modern metal sound with the really bass-heavy stuff, it doesn't come up. And that kind of surprised me, but I was like, it also kind of makes sense because of how our ears and our brains interpret frequency ranges. So one of the main albums I really looked at was Opeth's Blackwater Park. And it's such a raging album, and it's not this real bass-heavy thing. But you can listen to it over and over, and it's like, oh, it's just the frequencies in that are so well done. I don't think I got there, but it worked out. So again, thank you for the compliment. You are also a multi-instrument, very cool. I feel like sometimes more non-solo acts have less of a good understanding of what mixing is. That, yes. And this is something interesting I found because I have worked on projects with bands that I've been part of, that I played with or was a member of, or that I recorded. And there's this really common thing when you get multiple persons working on a project. It's like, oh, the bass player wants to hear more bass, the guitar player wants to hear more guitar, the singer wants to hear more voice, the drummer wants to hear more drums, and keyboards, and on and on and on. And so you kind of get this kind of little conflict going all the time. And when you're the sole composer and producer and engineer of everything, which I am on these albums, it's like, okay, well, like on this next one, you're going to hear some piano. I forget it. I think if I did piano or harpsichord on this. Anyway, you're going to hear a keyboard. And it's like, hey, I composed that. I put that in there. It's a synth. But still, that's my work. I want everything to stand well. So I feel like being a solo artist is a really good way to help you get a good thing there. Ghostly Blurry Face says another band that does a good job with the mixing is Between the Buried and Me. I agree with that. Their bassist Dan Briggs is great, and it really shows in the mixing and production. I agree with all of that, and they've got some good tunes. For anyone who may be unfamiliar with Between the Buried and Me, they're a prog metal band, and they're a solid band. They've got some really good stuff, and I agree. Their mixes are pretty top notch. They do a good job. So again, thank you very much for the compliments. Really greatly appreciated. I'm so glad you found me. And if you have subscribed on YouTube or followed on any of the other channels, the only place that I actually get notified of follows are Livespace and Twitch right now. I've been trying to get my chats to show the follows, and it does not appear to be working. I don't know what I'm getting wrong there. I will continue to work at it. But that's it. So now I'm actually really curious because I know what my sheet music is singing. This is a piano, but I feel like I went harpsichord on this one. It's been a while since I played this album, so I'm not sure what we're going to hear. This is a little bit of a slower piece. It's in C sharp minor for those who are following along. This is called Imminent Decay. Looks like YouTube is where it's happening tonight. We've got Unpleasant Aesthetic. Great username, BTW. Unpleasant Aesthetic. I like that. Thanks for coming in. Very much appreciated that you are here tonight with us. Memories is coming in from YouTube, one of my strongest YouTube regulars these days. And hello. Great to see you. Nice to see the Jackson. Yeah, you know, I'm actually, you'll probably notice, I know we got a few new viewers, but I have been having some trouble with my wireless system cutting out. And I realized, I don't think I've got it on my desk here, the cable I use for my other guitar is actually coming apart. And I was thinking, I'll bet that the cable is probably part of the antenna system in this, and it seems to be a much stronger connection. So I think I need to get a new, I can use this cable on the other guitar, it'll work. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So I was like, I wonder if it's the cable. And so I'm testing it out. Seems to be a solid connection there. So very cool. And what else do we got going on here? A few people in Twitch coming in and out. Oh, and Ghostly Blurry Face says that my tone, likes my tone. Good. That is another thing that I got to credit my buddy Ray. I doubt he's watching tonight. He and his wife Vivian are just super close friends of mine. We worked in some music projects in the past, and they both. I do not have good musical ears. I've been playing guitar for almost 40 years, and yeah, I'm not great at matching tones, which is why I'm still working on my vocals after, you know, decades of practice. And so, you know, Ray and I worked a bunch on getting the tones where I need them. He would hear things, and then I could be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I could go fiddle with stuff, and he'd be like, yes, now you got it. Yeah, so I appreciate all of the compliments for the tone and the mixing and production and everything. And Ghost of Blurry Face says, nice guitar. You know, this is an interesting one. I got this, oh gosh, this is probably 15, 17 years ago now. It's been quite a long time. And it's actually a much lower, it was one of the cheapest Jackson Rhodes. This is a Rhodes style, this kind of offset flying V shape, if you can see that for the people who don't know. So I wanted a Rhodes, and the reason I went with this particular model is most of the more expensive models actually have a faceplate on them. And I prefer guitars that are routed in the back and don't have a faceplate. So I bought this kind of lesser model, this less expensive model, and I just upgraded the crap out of all the electronics. It's funny, I was playing with a heavy metal band at the time, and I brought this guitar in with just the stock pickups in it, and they're like, dude, that does not sound good. And a couple weeks later, I brought it back in, and I had put these DiMarzio deactivators in here, which are just freaking awesome. And they didn't know I'd upgraded it, but they're just like, dude, what did you do to that guitar? It sounds freaking awesome. So yeah, and this one, I've got this fancy 3PDT switch, 3-pole double throw switch. I don't know what that means, but I had called up DiMarzio because I was looking for this certain thing, and it was very cool. I actually got Steve DiMarzio, the founder of the company, on the phone. We talked for a while. Very cool guy, and he said, you know, with this type of a switch, you can do this thing. And he emailed me a wiring diagram. So basically, I got a humbucker here, and then up in this position, I got a humbucker at the neck, and then in the middle, it actually humbucks with the two inner coils. It's so cool. So cool. Ghost of Blurry Face says, I assume you have a timer for in between playing tracks. No, actually, what I did, this was... Some of my solutions have been just so low tech. I started with the space bar, and what I used to do is I'd have this camera here was in a different position, And I wanted it down in this area because I like the shot better when I'm in the playing area. But I would set my keyboard and stuff right up here, and then that would be in the way of the camera. So my solution to that was we went to Goodwill, and I picked up a couple of old computer keyboards for like $2. And I took all the keys off except for the space bar. So now I just have this keyboard right down here. I just jam it with my foot, and it starts everything up. And it works great. And then if it ever, if I just jam it too hard and break it, then I'll just go grab one of the other ones and pull all the keys out of those except the space bar and have a new foot pedal. So that was my solution to getting things started. An unpleasant aesthetic. Oh, that's 2 people who have said on YouTube that I've showed up in their recommendations, and that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you like what we're doing. Unpleasant aesthetic. And again, for anyone out there who happens to be following or subscribing on any of my channels, I'm streaming out to 14 different platforms. I can only see that you have followed or subscribed if it's on Twitch or LiveSpace, and I apologize for that. But I really do appreciate everyone, chatters, viewers, followers, what have you. Thank you very much for being here. And we got 71 Nas 71 says hello from France, and they're coming in from Kick.com. Kick.com, I just recently started streaming to maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I've been getting a few people coming in on there. So thank you very much for tuning in from France. That's awesome. I think that Memories on YouTube is also from France. So we got a bit of an international thing going on tonight, as we sometimes do. Yeah, it worked out great. the whole keyboard thing with the foot. So then, yeah, I don't have to worry about, and then I did this other, so in my recording program, I set up a special command so that when it gets to the end of the song, it turns the lights on, turns my microphone back on, and then stops the play. So I used to have to stop it and start it. And so like my lights would come on and I have to be in the right place and hit the space bar. So I got that automated, and then it'll just sit there until I hit the space bar again, and then it's rolling. So it's worked out super well so that if I do get new people or questions in chat or whatever, I can totally address that. Sometimes I'll stand here and talk for a half hour because people are just asking me questions about music theory or my guitars or my setup or my fancy haircut or whatever. And that's awesome, and I appreciate it. Memories coming in from France. So it's almost 6 a.m. here. Didn't sleep to launch a stream at Pacific time. Yeah, 6 stayed up all night. That happens. Now I've got to watch my batteries because they are going low. So I got to keep my eye on the battery meter. Oh, I was looking at a different meter. I think my batteries are good. Okay, cool. And Steve Chandler on YouTube, coming in from Australia. Dude, we got the whole world tuning in. This is awesome. This is such a fun stream right now. Thank you all so very much for being a part of this and tuning in. And for those who are coming in a little bit late, right now we are playing my 21st album. It is titled An Innocent Assassin. It is my 21st of 66 that I have released. I'm working on my 67th through 70th albums right now. And I'm taking a little more, I've explained this a couple times, but I know we got some new people here. I'm spending a little extra time on my 67th album because on every album I do, I dedicate a song to someone. On this upcoming album, which is titled Twice Upon a Time, I'm actually dedicating a song. I'm considering it a tribute song, which I've never done before, and it's to a former guitar mentor of mine who passed a while back, and I really just want to spend some extra. I want to give that some very special treatment, and that song, which is called "Rain Over Nowhere," is going to be 30 minutes 3 seconds long. I've got the whole outline of it is done. It's in good shape. Do It Pruitt coming in from Twitch. Do It Pruitt and I are the kind of the main two beta testers on LiveSpace. We've got to know each other a little bit as streamers. Very cool guy. He's lurking over on Twitch. I was lurking over on his channel earlier. He's more of a video game streamer, but a great personality, and I would strongly urge, if you like video game streams, definitely check out Do It Pruitt 82. Very cool guy. And so for some reason, I am coming up in a lot of people's recommendations, and I have both pooped up and popped up in recommendations. I love that. Absolutely Do It Pruitt, and I appreciate all the kind of things you've said about me as well. So cool. So let's continue on with this. We're going to kind of continue on the slightly slower side. This piece is called Times of Turmoil. And for those following along on their instruments, it is an E Phrygian. Oh, and now I've done that. So this is the thing with the space bar, is if I don't have the right window set up, then it doesn't work. Yeah, I love the pooped up thing. That was awesome. That totally worked. All right. Now my space bar will work. This is Times of Turmoil. We got a great group in our chat here tonight. Again, thank you all so much for coming in. Rumor says you play some Silverchair, Violent Soho, Tired Lion, in the Street of... Oh, that's cool. Yeah, street playing is so awesome. I've always thought it'd be fun to go out to like Spokane, hang out some summer day, playing some slide guitar or something, just see what happens. That would require me to go out to Spokane. That's the closest big city. Spokane's really not a big city. It's not like a New York or a Seattle or London or anything like that. But it's the closest one, and it's not entirely close. Sarah and I pretty much, I like to say we don't live in the middle of nowhere, but we're within walking distance. Steve just came back from Gold Coast. Very cool. Silverchair, they got some great stuff. I'm not familiar with Tired Lion or Violent Soho. I'll have to check that out. But and nice arpeggios. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's, I try to incorporate a good mix of kind of like more linear, more intervallic, and more angular playing. And I'm glad I got that right. Thanks. Steve is liking this a lot, and thank you as well. And Dewitt Pruitt says, showing me off to his viewers. Very, very cool. I appreciate that. I was talking about that before you came on, Pruitt. You've seen me quite a few times, so you probably recall I've had some streams where my wireless was cutting out, and I've noticed on my normal cable, the cable I use for my normal guitars, it's kind of breaking apart. And I think that is probably part of the antenna system. And so this is a different cable that I use with my I can use this cable with my other guitars in the interim, but I have not had the trouble tonight, so I think that might be what's going on with it. Not positive, but it was a good little experiment. Who are my guitar inspirations from back then and right now? Great question, Ghostly Blurry Face. So this is an interesting one, and I need to post part 2. Mark Cook has got a very small new channel on. He's doing interviews with musicians, and he's done some pretty cool stuff. We were talking about this, and that reminds me I need to post that interview on Discord because the people have asked about part 2. But the big thing for me is that the first person I always go to who influenced my guitar playing is not a guitarist. It's John Coltrane, my favorite saxophone player, inarguably amongst the greatest saxophone players of all time. Arguably, you could say he's the greatest. I'm a huge Coltrane fan. And the thing about Coltrane, the thing about horns, and I was just practicing my saxophone. I don't know if you can see it back there, kind of barely shining. I don't play nearly enough to be a good saxophone player, but the thing about a horn is you don't move your hands. Like on a guitar, if I want to play low notes, I got to be down here. And high notes, I got to move my hands significantly. On a sax, you move your fingers, but you don't actually move the position of your hands. And what that means is horn players have access to the full range of their instrument right from the get-go. There are some technique things with embouchure and how you actually get the column of air to start and to flow that can help with the range, but you have access to the instrument. So basically what I hear when I'm listening to Coltrane is he's just all over the place, all the time. And when I first heard Coltrane, which was the song Giant Steps, brilliant. It was at a party down in Seattle. I've been thinking about making a video about this actually. It was at a party in Seattle with some old military buddies. Well, we were much younger at the time. And my friend Scott takes me back and he's like, listen to this. He'd been studying it in his college course on music appreciation. And we were talking about it and I just hear Coltrane's being all over and I'm like, that's how I want to play the guitar. And so I very much tailored my guitar playing to have that capacity in it. And it's a very different way of playing than you would do on a saxophone. It's a very different way of playing. You know, a lot of people will play what we call in the box, where we have a scale pattern, and we often play within that pattern. And many guitar players tend to stick in one place, in one box. So I basically understand how the boxes fit all across the fretboard. And that was largely from Coltrane. Metallica, massive influence. A lot of people say they still hear the Metallica influence in my composition. I basically came of age when I started playing for the second time. I had quit as a teenager for a few years. I started up again when I was 17, and I just grabbed the tablature book for Master of Puppets, and I just started learning it. And so that was huge. To me, Master of Puppets is really just a series of heavy metal exercises written by the guys from Metallica. Because that's how I approached that whole album, was just, I'm going to learn these few measures here. I'm going to learn this riff over here. I'm going to learn this section here. And eventually I knew, you know, the songs. But I was just learning bits and pieces as exercises, which was, you know, if you're out there listening, Kirk and James and gang, thanks for the heavy metal exercises for Little Randy. I really appreciate it. So that's a big one. Megadeth. There's a lot of classical influences as well. Targa, Fernando Sor, Napoleon Costa. These are, because I really love classical guitar in general, and I need to do more of it on my streams. I have been practicing. Slowly working on getting my classical chops back up in order. Cliff, of course, was huge in Metallica. That's absolutely true. Less of an impact on me because his was, you know, bass, but killer bass player, terrible bus passenger, but great on bass. So, you know, those are a few, and, you know, right now the influences really, I haven't been learning a lot of new music, and it's because, you know, for the last 5 years or so, I've really been primarily concentrating on my own music. There was an 11-month period where I put out an album every week. And so I put out 49 albums in 11 months. You know, obviously, I really wasn't learning anything at that time. And I don't want this to sound like I don't think there are great guitar players out there who are worthy of influencing and inspiring people. There absolutely are. There's some just amazing players out there, and we have really great access to them these days. So, yeah. Let's see. Sunglasses are cool. What brand are they? So these are actually prescription sunglasses, and I got them from Zenni Optical, ZENNI.com. Unfortunately, this particular model, if you will, of glasses, they don't do anymore. I've got several other of these frames, so I'm good for. It's the exact same glasses that I wear for just my vision glasses. I wear sunglasses during my shows because I've got these extremely bright lights in front of me here. And so that's, unfortunately, I would totally say go to Zenni Optical and get some, but they don't have this particular frame anymore. I feel like a really experienced sax or trumpet player could be a great guitarist. This is, you know, one thing I've found is that no matter what you learn, it's going to be good for you. Learning the little bit that I do know on saxophone has absolutely helped my guitar playing. Being a guitar player helped my saxophone playing. Being a musician helped with my drawing. You know, so anything you learn is going to have a benefit to you. And that's just been really very well illustrated within the neuroscience community, which I do not want to claim any expertise in, but basically, dendrites are the branching of the neural pathways, and they have shown scans of actual growth of new dendrites during the learning processes. When you are learning anything, it's good for you, and that's just, you know, go learn. Like I like to sew. You know, being, you know, I like this vest. I made this vest. I made these jeans. Learning that is a good thing. And sewing is awesome. Sarah and I both do a lot of sewing. So I'm really big on continually learning stuff. Even if it's something that appears to be completely useless. Learn archery. Learn basket weaving. Learn to write better poems. Learn gardening. Learn anything. Whatever. Go out and get after it. 49 albums in 11 months. That was my second album through my 50th. My first album came out January of 2004. January 8th, Elvis's birthday, was the release date of my first album. That album is called Confusion. To this day, I'm very proud of that album. It took 14 years from the first riff to actually completing it. Learned a lot during that period, and it was awesome. I worked on that with Dave Walker out at Riverside Studios in Granite Falls in Western Washington, and just a really good experience. He's a super cool guy. He and I are friends to this day. And then it wasn't until 2018, August 3rd, that I put out my second album. And prior to that, I had been playing some coffee shop shows, nothing crazy going on. And through, I won't tell the full story right now, but through a dare of my friend John, I ended up kind of working out this process where I could write music much faster. And I developed that then over about a year and a half. And I realized, hey, if I want to, I could put out an album a week. And it's a lot. So I put out Infinity Minus One, my second album, on August 3rd, 2018. And then I just started popping out an album a week. And some of those were kind of composed in advance, but it got to where I would release on Friday at noon. And then I would take a breath. And I'd be like, okay, I've only got 7 days to create a new album. Open up sheet music, start putting notes in, and just going for it. I do all of these in sheet music before I record. So I write all my music. Drums are programmed. The piano you heard earlier, that's programmed. All my synths and organs and stuff. So I transfer that stuff in, process the MIDI, do the recordings. And in that 11-month period, I only missed my 1 week deadline 2 times. One, I was just taking a break. And I was like, okay, I need a break. I'm gonna take a week off. And the other one, I had recorded everything. I could have published it, but I just did a bad job on it. So I was like, I put a little video out to my small fan group and said, hey, you're not gonna get one this week. It's recorded, but it's crap. And people are like, we wouldn't be able to hear those mistakes. And I'm like, I think you would on this. And so I re-recorded it. And so yeah, that was pretty fun. We never stop learning. So true. Yes. I think the thing that makes people masters is that they don't stop learning, because they know that there's always more to learn. I mean, if you look at like lifelong ballet dancers, which I am a big fan of ballet. I've taken ballet classes. I would never perform, but I'm terrible at it. But when you look at the greats, I'm like Mikhail Baryshnikov, Misty Copeland, they are constantly learning. I'm getting requests to actually play guitar. I am going to shut up. When you guys get me talking, I keep talking. So we got James W. coming in on YouTube. Thanks so much for coming in, James. By request, I'm going to play some guitar. For those who don't know, we're playing my 21st album right now. It's An Innocent Assassin. This next song is called A Path of Shadows. Ghostly Blurry Face says, do I ever think about hiring a full band to play with me? That's what led to all this. So the reason I do this the way I do is I have worked in various capacities with several bands through the years. Metal bands, punk bands, little things here and there with, pop bands and reggae bands and stuff. And human beings are unreliable. That's it. And, and musicians are known for being right at the top of the list of unreliable musicians. So I would work with these groups and we'd start doing well, and then people just don't show up. So, okay, we got to find a new drummer. And drummers don't show up to auditions and then wonder why they didn't get the gig. Right? Or, then we get a new guitar player coming in and they show up drunk. They show up high. They don't show up at all. They show up late. We finally find someone to be in the band. They don't learn their parts. And so after I had parted ways with all the projects I was doing, almost across the board on good terms. There's really only one group I ever worked with whom we're not on good terms. So I started setting up some stuff. I just wanted to do some of the same kind of stuff I was doing. I started working with musicians, and same thing. People don't show up. They don't know the parts. And I finally realized, technology has gotten to the point where I can teach drums to my computer, and then they show up every time, on time, and they play the parts correctly. And the same is true of the piano. So I basically realized I can replace everyone except the singers, and I can do everything else. So that's what I did. And I love playing with people. There is a synergy to that you don't get like this. It is a different type of playing, but yeah, shout out to the bands that make it work. I mean, when you see a band like ZZ Top, who, to my knowledge, never had a lineup change after their first album came out. Rush had a lineup change after the first album, but never had another one. Bands like that are so rare. Bands like Iron Maiden or Neil Diamond, Chris Isaak, that made it work for decades. It's so rare that you get groups of musicians that can work together in a continuous fashion like that. So it's just, yeah, it's very cool when that does happen. This next song, we're going to slow it down a little bit here. It's an E Phrygian. And this one, when I did this, it's kind of experimental. And someone mentioned earlier they liked the way I was hitting the arpeggios and stuff. And I kind of view my playing from three perspectives. Kind of linear, which is basically going straight through a scale. So that's a very linear type of playing. Intervallic, which is playing the notes of chord or triads, also known as arpeggios. And then more angular, where I take big, larger jumps. And so in this, I put some notes in here to kind of be more angular in certain areas and more linear in certain areas. So kind of getting myself to play away from my normal mode of operations. And I mean, it's an interesting thing. AI is crazy, but it's still not the best at writing. Yeah, and I know that the AI is going to really help with songwriting a lot. And it's all going to come down to how people use the AI. I think there's a lot of good potential for that. So someone sent me an AI-written classical guitar song a couple months ago, and it was just like an F chord, a D chord, an A chord, and it's like, okay, this is not good yet. But it's cool, and just like people didn't like the programmed drums, and now it's kind of becoming the standard. And I know some people are still really bothered by the standard of programmed drums, and I blame drummers for not learning their parts. Because if drummers showed up and learned their parts, we wouldn't need to program the drums. So AI is going to help, and I say go for it. And if people don't want the AI to be the main thing, then they need to start doing their thing and make it so that the AI isn't necessary. That's really all it comes down to. If musicians were reliable, we wouldn't replace them with robots. Boom. So we're slowing down a little bit. Let's see what happens on these guitar solos. This one's called The War of the Black Tower. got Logan 2 is back, tuning in from Kick.com. Thanks so much for coming in, Logan. And that is a very cool little custom icon you did there. I like that one. One of the cool things about Kick.com is you can make your own custom emotes, icon things for chat, and that's just a really cool thing there. I like that one. Little dancing audio meter looking thing for those who can't see it. Is Polyphia an inspiration, influence for me? No, they're really not. I like what Polyphia's done. I haven't spent any time working on their music. I've had a couple of students, pick up their tabs and be like, yeah, I want to learn this. And for the most part, they find out pretty quickly that they're not quite at that level yet. They're a few levels under it. And so I like what Polyphia does. I think they're very cool, but I wouldn't name them as an inspiration or an influence on me at this point. Thank you very much for the compliment there. That was beautiful. I appreciate that. And everyone coming in wherever you're at, I do want to reiterate, thank you very much to all my new followers. I do not see when people put up follows except on two of the websites I'm going out to. So on YouTube, if you subscribe there, or if you follow it on Kick.com or Trovo or DLive or Nemo or Vaughn or any of those, I don't actually see that. But I really do appreciate everyone who follows, watches, listens, smells, chats, whatever you're doing out there. I just want to kind of check something here. Okay. I think, I feel like it's been a while. Where's my... I'm gonna be right back. I think it's time to hit some slide guitar in this thing. We haven't done any slide guitar for a while. Let me go grab my stool here. Grabbed my spare rechargeable batteries while I was out there as well. Okay. Yeah, we haven't done any slide guitar for probably over a month, so we are definitely due on that. Let's get set up with that. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Sliding. Almost in tune, too. Oh, you know what? It would really help to know where my actual slide is if I'm going to do slide guitar. Oh, there it is. Cool. Let's get plugged on in here. Thank you for your patience, everybody, while I prepare stuff. All right. I don't have Spotify. I am not on Spotify, no, but if you want to check out my music, go to themadpoet.net, and all of my albums are available. The YouTube videos are all embedded, and there's also links to my Bandcamp, and so you can get all of my music from themadpoet.net. Nothing says on the internet says I got here twice, I got here second, like .net. That's me. Let's do some blues, huh? Get that stool out of the way or I'll trip over it. I've done that a few times. Yeah. Booze. This next one is called The Undertaker's Daughter. Well, I definitely put my stool and guitar away very poorly. Put both of them right in front of a camera. Ghostly Blurry Face says, that was great. Lots of different styles in there. Personally reminded me of Jerry Cantrell. Very cool. Yeah, you know, that's very cool. I have, as soon as you say that, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see the Jerry Cantrell feel in there. But it's certainly not an intentional thing. Alice in Chains, again, a band that I haven't, I've taught a few of their songs. Wouldn't call them a huge influence. I like their music. They got some really great stuff. Yeah, but when you say it, it's like, yeah, that does kind of have a little bit of that kind of feel to it. Very cool. Yeah, and now, the guitar was right in front of the camera. Stool was right in front of the camera. That's because for those who are new here, it's important that you understand this. I am a dork. So it's a good thing to be aware of. I just want to check this here. I want to see how many songs we got on this album, because I think we're coming up toward the end of it. Yeah, we got 2 songs left. So we're coming up toward the end of this. And these are both pretty upbeat pieces. We kind of had our mellow middle section there. Let's bring this back up, turn this thing out properly. Second to last song of the night off of my 21st album. This is called The Silence of the Graveyard. So I got to change my batteries. My little battery meter is just about out. And I'm also fairly sure that I'm going to have to replace some of my rechargeables. But I've been using these very consistently for 3 years, so they've done really well. I thought those batteries might make it to the end of the show, but I'm not taking a chance with that. All right, and this song here, I like a lot better with the updated production because you can hear much better. There's basically, this starts out with just drums, adds in guitars and bass, and slowly adds in more and more components: string section, organ, brass section, and it kind of just ups the intensity throughout the performance. Unplugged Aesthetic says, I don't normally listen to this kind of music, but I like it. Well, thank you very much. That's a huge compliment. And I say often, my music is not for everybody. And a lot of people don't get into the instrumental thing. A lot of people don't like really heavy guitar music or really aggressive music, which a lot of my music would be described as. And just the fact that there are people out there who take the time to listen to what I do, to watch my performances online, in person, however it is, I really appreciate it, and it's very cool. I love doing the music. Even if no one were watching, or listening, I would still be playing. But it is great to hear those kinds of compliments, and that's a very big one. So thank you very much. All right, last show of the evening. Thank you very much. You've definitely seen a lot of new faces in here today. Well, a lot of new people have seen my face. I have not seen your faces. I'm sure you're all beautiful. I have no doubt of that at all. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone coming in, all my new followers, new chatters, new viewers. Yes, thank you for being here. This is the last song of the evening. Good high energy thing. This is called Broken Bones, Sit Upon Shattered Thrones. we got oh, Thrash Putin just raided. Oh, Thrash, I haven't seen you in like 75 years. Dude, thanks for the raid. That is awesome. Oh, you know what? That was going to be the last song, but I'm gonna load up some more music. We're gonna keep it going. This has been an awesome night with the chat and everything. How much? I still got, I've got time. Thank you so much for the raid, Thrash. Great to see you here. Hope you are doing well. I hope your stream was awesome. How was your stream? Did you do well with it? Okay, you guys are going to lose my audio for a moment. And I'm just going to put up my break screen here while I load up a new album. I'm just going to have to find one real quick. You know what? I'm just going to load up number 66. Techno Funk Boy, thank you for the follow. And I'm going to you guys are going to have me back in just a moment. I'm going to load up, let me find it. Let me find it. We're going to play, I doubt we'll make it through the whole album, but I'm just going to load up my newest album, Schizonoid Paraphrenic, and you guys are going to lose me for a moment while this loads up. It's called Schizonoid Paraphrenic. This is my 66th album. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Find the sheet music for it here. Schizonoid Paraphrenic live. Alright. Just about ready to go. And this first song on the album is called A Slow Descent into Madness. This was a fun one for me. When I did the composition on this, you're going to see some sheet music come up right at the beginning. And on that sheet music, what you're looking at is a type of composition known as counterpoint. Most of my counterpoint is done in 4 parts. This was my first time really going overboard on it. I did a 9-part counterpoint. There's about 8 measures of 9-part counterpoint. And I had initially written it as 4 parts. In those 4 parts, I probably used 12 measures of 4-part. And that probably took me, 20 minutes. And then when I went and I modified that 8-measure section to be 9 parts, I think I spent like 6 hours on it, trying to get everything right so it would still be contrapuntal. Super happy with the way it came out. All right, album number 66, Schizonoid Paraphrenic. This is A Slow Descent into Madness. Oh, wait. Let me get my right spot here. Now we got it. Here we go. Slow to sit. All right. Good stuff. Hey, again, thank you so much for the raid, Thrash Putin. It's been a while since I've seen you. It's great to have you here. I was just about to close up shop, but if we're going to get raids, we're going to keep on going. I got a couple hours. I got over an hour and a half I can still play here if I need to, so we may as well be rocking. It's better to be rocking than not rocking. Thank you everyone very much for being here. If you're new to the show, I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. This is what we do. We rock it. Thank you to my new followers. From whatever platform you happen to be coming in. Appreciate it. So we played my 21st album earlier, an Innocent Assassin. We just switched over to my 66. This one is called Schizonoid Paraphrenic. This is for the most part, this is a pretty high-paced album. Unpleasant Aesthetic says, I am really cool. Thank you very much. I have always tried to be at least a reasonably cool person in my life, and I'm glad I've accomplished that. Let's keep the high-paced stuff going. This song is called The Curse. Thrash Putin says, gonna cook a righteous meal with this as my soundtrack. That is freaking awesome. Anyone who wants to cook to my music, let me know about it, because that is cool. And if you want to cook on stream to my music, I will gladly give my permission for that. Absolutely. All right, so this one is going to start out kind of slower. This song moves all around. This song, I would kind of say, is a bit of an adventure, really. And I definitely feel like certain of my songs, when I'm out running, I'll sometimes just put my own music on, random play. And like when this one comes on, it's like, this just feels really good out there. Just kind of jogging along. This comes on, it's like, it's like kind of like going on an adventure. That's how this one feels to me anyway. Hopefully you guys will get some other really good feelings out of it. But this one's got key changes, tempo changes, all kinds of stuff. It starts in B minor, it goes to A minor, G sharp minor, B flat minor, kind of goes all over the place. Hope you enjoy it. This is called Object of the Deepest Scorn. There's my lights. Those weren't going to work for a moment. Recursive Trauma coming in from Twitch. How you doing, Sean? Great to see you here. Good timing. We just we had a raid. Thrash Putin raided in and kept the show going. I was about to close down just before he raided in. We decided to do one more album. So thank you for being here. And it's also good timing because, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. This song is called Barfing Blood from My Eyes. Yes, you did join at a good time, Sean. So like I said, this album is mostly pretty upbeat. I do have two slower songs on here. This is the first of them, so we're going to slow it down a little bit. And I do really like the way that the feel came out on both of these slower songs, but I also had to record the leads on both of them twice. And it's something I really have to kind of watch myself about. Hang on, I think I got a light problem. Calling in the lighting crew, be right back. Wow. What do we need here? 50. I gotta make sure I got that number correct. Nope, went the wrong way. It's 50. One of those, sometimes that one back there, but that's a new one. All right. Whew. All right, so I want to check something. I may have just had a shutdown. I really hope not. No, okay, we're good. We are good. Okay. Whew. Getting sweaty. Digging it. Okay, so like I was saying, when I recorded these two slower songs on here, I had to record both of them twice. And the reason was I tried to be too busy during the guitar solos. And it's something I really have to watch myself on during performances of these because I tend to put too many notes into these. So I kind of got to force myself to back off a little bit. So let's see how I do on this. This one, and this is a question you should all be pondering and thinking about. Very solipsistic type of a thing. Are you sure you're not a product of my imagination? And I think that's quite enough with the slow stuff for a little while. And we are going to speed it right on up with the title track. Got to talk about two people here. This song is dedicated to my friend Dick Chartrand. He and I used to do some theater stuff together. Just a really high energy dude. And when I decided to do a song for him, I'm like, I need a high energy song for this one. And this is the title track, Schizonoid Paraphrenic, the song and the album. And that title was actually thought of by my awesome daughter, Renee. She is one of the very few people who has been allowed to name any of my songs. And she nailed it. She's come up with some really good song titles. I think this might be my favorite of them. And this piece is fun. Very fun. High energy. Let's do this. Going out to Richard. Hat tip to Renee. This is Schizonoid Paraphrenic. That is a fun song to play. Good stuff. Whew. Getting into a longer show than I expected, but that's all right. I like the long shows. We're coming up on 3 hours here. Not bad. I actually do have a 4-hour time limit because of a software that I use. So we got less than an hour. Well, a little over an hour if we go all the way. But I'm digging it. We're going to go into some C sharp minor on this one. Unpleasant Aesthetic says awesome. Yeah, I agree. Memories just got back. Just entered our USA stream. Very cool. Very cool. Welcome back. Glad you are here again. Like I said, like I mentioned while you were out, we actually were going to end this show, and then we got rated in by Thrash Putin on Twitch. Brought his followers in, his viewers in, and always appreciate that. So making it happen, Captain. We're doing it. And this week, I'm gonna dedicate this performance to my gal Memories over in France, because I know she stayed up all night so that she could do her stuff. And this song is called When You Can't Sleep. You're gonna move back to Huntington Beach. Yeah, that would make it a lot easier. That is in the Pacific time zone. You used to live in California, if I recall correctly. Oh, you're welcome. That was fun. It's a fun one to play. Oh, Mel, wow. We've already knocked 7 songs out on this album. That's crazy. Oh, well. If you're going to move to Huntington Beach by boat, I hope that you don't get lost at sea. Oh, you were in California when you were young for skateboarding. Cool. Did you do any surfing when you were out there? I think surfing. I've never surfed, but I think surfing is really cool. The Jackson's more aggressive than my Ibanez. DiMarzio maybe is the cause. So on my green Ibanez, I've got the stock pickups in it, and they're good. They're quite good. And then in the black Ibanez, I've got the DiMarzio Fred in the bridge and the PAF Pro in the neck position, and those are great. This one has the DiMarzio deactivators, and they are, I think, a bit more aggressive, a bit more kind of pushy, so to speak, than the others. The original pickups in this were just absolute crap. I mean, it was like a $300 guitar, and I just changed all the other. That's so often you can buy a cheap guitar, change the electronics, and have a really good piece. And that's exactly what happened on this one. So, I mean, So I still got the originals in my bass because I'm not very concerned about the bass. Original pickups, and the original pickups in the green Ibanez. But everything else, yeah, I'm usually an aftermarket pickup kind of person. So, yeah, we're just past 3 hours here. We got 3 more songs to go on this show, and that should bring us to a reasonable conclusion. I'm really glad that Thrash Putin, if you're still out there, hey, thanks again for the raid. That was really cool. That kept me going. I would be doing something else now. I'd be relaxing or working out or who knows what. Yeah, but I'm glad that because this has been just a super fun show tonight. Really enjoyed it. I've had a lot of new people coming in, and a lot of great questions in chat, and just overall fun time. So again, thanks to everyone for watching, for listening, for smelling, to my new viewers, my new followers, to the tippers out there. Thank you very much wherever you're coming in from. Much appreciated. Hope you're having a good time. 3 songs to go. We're going to slow it down here a little bit for this next piece, and then we're going to pick it back up nice and aggressive for the last 2. This one is called When the Light Begins to Fade. Yeah, the recommendations were good. We got a lot of new people tonight off of the YouTube recommendations. I don't know how the recommendation system works, but that was cool. A bunch of people came in with that one. So, digging it. Got 2 songs left. I'm just about out of water. Things are going just right here. Yeah, the algorithm does take its time. That's true. Very true. Anyway, if you're coming in from anywhere else, you know, I technically I have viewer numbers, but I don't think they're usually terribly correct. So, like right now, my viewer numbers show that no one is watching on YouTube, but obviously at least one person is because she's chatting. So yeah, I have no idea what's going on with numbers, but wherever you're out there watching from, you are much appreciated. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. For those who may be new to what we do, this is what we do. We rock. We're playing my 66th album right now. We got 2 songs left of the show tonight. Been going for a little over 3 hours, and I'm digging it. So let's do this. Now, this particular song, this was a tough one for me. I didn't like this when I was composing it. After I got it recorded, I was like, yeah, and the thing that really made it for me was when I put in the string section. That made this one work. Really enjoyable piece. We're in B minor here. This is called I Thought I Was Someone Else. Yeah, hey, Unpleasant Aesthetic, definitely check out Memory's channel. She does kind of some ambient grunge stuff, got a very cool feel to it. I strongly urge people to check that out. And, I always like it when people kind of, find other people in my chat and like, hey, that person's channel was really awesome. I totally dig that. That's what social media is supposed to be about. Is actually interacting. I tend to stay away from social media just because it's not used in pleasant ways for the most part, and I don't dig that. So I like it when people come in and have fun. Like feel like about a week ago I had to ban someone off of Kick for inflammatory comments. I don't like it. I like when people just have fun. So thanks everyone for having fun out there. This has been an awesome stream for me. I've had an absolute blast tonight. I didn't expect to be going this long. I'm glad that I did. And so we got one song left, and then I'm calling it quits for the night. This is, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, the second G sharp minor portion of this album and of the show. For the finale, nice high-speed piece. This is called Destroy It. Destroy It All. All right, gangsters, that is it for me. This was a fun show. Again, thank you so much to everyone, new followers, subscribers, chatters, raiders, Thrash Putin, if you're still out there, thanks for the raid. That was freaking awesome. Kept me going. Great show. May or may not be back tomorrow. I think it's unlikely I'll be streaming tomorrow because I do have my busy teaching day, and Sarah's coming back tomorrow. She's been out of town for a couple days on some botany stuff. So probably not tomorrow. Should be in on Monday. Hey, thanks so much. Unpleasant Aesthetic was great chatting with you tonight. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, I will see you